¿Qué pasa, campeones? Welcome to Churros y Tácticas. Today, it's all about previewing the Champions League, reviewing La Liga's action, and of course, some TAA to Real Madrid talk, and maybe some Güler chatter. We'll see. Stick around. Hello. Welcome, everybody. Welcome to another Churros. Starting off the week, the 5th of May, with an absolute banger. What a week it is. I didn't even mention, Kian, that on the horizon looms a Clásico. That didn't make it in that little clip there in the intro. But of course, we're going to touch upon the Clásico as well, because it's a big one, folks. It's a big
It's like, man, after you have a Clásico, like every week, it gets boring, bro.
Oh, no. Super League talk, baby. Super League. These are the matches we live for. These are the matches that we want. The Clásico could be a title decider. Thank God.
It is a title decider.
It is. Yeah. That's why I was going to say thank God that Madrid picked up the slack. And in the end, of course, it was a comfortable 3-0. It was a bit of a nail biter in the end there to see if Celta was going to make it a draw. Pidiendo la hora is what they say here. The Madrid players were asking the ref for the time. Let's get right into the thick of things. Kian Sobani, before we get into all that other chatter, do you feel that it was the case against Celta? Were you surprised by how they mounted a comeback?
Yes and no. I'm surprised because they were up. Real Madrid were up 3-0, and it was comfortable at that point. And I'm not surprised because this team is not capable of putting together a good performance from 1 to 90, like at all. We've had one, I think, this season, and that was against Manchester City in the second leg. So it's always been like one half or 20 minutes or 30 minutes. It's never the professional job, get it done, bang, 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 bada boom, bada bing, 3 points straightforward without suffering. We must suffer. This is our favorite thing to say. We must suffer.
Yeah.
That's Carlos
The thing
too. We have to suffer.
The funny thing is, though, I mean, that is, I can't say that for Barca is very much different. Of course, we started out losing to Valladolid. The A team had to come on, not entirely for good reason. Hopefully, we wish a speedy recovery for Dani Rodriguez, who I've had the pleasure to cover for Barca Athletic. I say pleasure of covering. The reason I mention his name is he just came back from a long-term injury that kept him out the entire season. A lot of people were very excited to see him, first of all, come back to the B team, put in good performances, and then even be called up for the A team. That was an exciting moment. Unfortunately, I don't know exactly how long he'll be out for. That's why Lamine Yamal, of course, came on in the first half. Then in the second half, the other heavyweights came on, your Rafinhas, etc. And in the end, a 2-1 win. But what I'm trying to get at is we're both condemned to suffer in that regard. Maybe you could, obviously, one football is more entertaining than the other, but that's a debate perhaps. But
no, it's not this season anyway.
No,
my kids play more entertaining football than Real Madrid in the backyard.
But look, let's I want to keep this snappy, and audience, of course, put in your comments as well. Hopefully we'll get a time to read some of them, especially those super chats. Speaking of which, not super chats, but entertaining football, Güler got the headlines. Has he now definitively proved his case and Carlo Ancelotti wrong? I understand that for Madridismo, this is the big takeaway. And probably also, and this is my question, is it your hope to, I was going to say, cause an upset? It's not really an upset if you would win at Montjuic, but is it your hope to reignite the title race?
Well, yeah, I think you just asked me like 5 questions.
Yeah,
I
take
figure
one.
out which one
Take
to
one.
respond to.
Yeah.
Okay. You also threw in some Barca stuff there too, and what happened over the weekend against Valladolid that now I feel like it's too late to respond to. But
we can get into that. We'll circle back.
Yeah, we'll circle back. Güler is someone we've been crying out for all season. And by we, I really mean anyone who really understood what Real Madrid's issues were this season. There were so many, but if you lumped a bunch of them together, Güler solved a bunch, like ticked a lot of those boxes. One is that like there was an obsession with Carlo had with playing Vinicius, Rodrigo, and Mbappe all together, three very similar players, and it provided some imbalance. It provided a lot of offensive redundance, players doing the same things, getting in each other's way, lack of a presence in the box, too many line breakers, not enough, verticality. Um, you lost Tony Cruz. Danny Ceballos was injured for most of the season. Hello, he's right there. Like the guy is. I understand he's young, and maybe when you're that young, of course, Barca fans don't understand this, but like, because they don't have that problem. Like, yeah, he's 14. Yeah, of course he's ready. Arda Güler is 20 now. He's not even a teenager anymore. So, and obviously, like, everything's relative, but you look at what Lamine Yamal did with Spain, admittedly a much more talented Spain squad than it was that Arda Güler had with Turkey. But Arda Güler had a phenomenal Euros too with Turkey, and we were all very excited for the season to start with him and see if we could grow into the rotation, and he just didn't. He had a couple performances early on that weren't great, and that was all it took. The punishment was there for months. Meanwhile, there are several players not performing well for months on end, and they don't have any punishment at all. And so the accountability always just didn't seem fair with Carlo. Different players had different leashes, different levels of trust. That all being said, you think about a lot of the problems that Arda Güler solves. We need more players who can drop deep and help us escape pressure. We need more players who play vertical and play through balls. He's just a different profile too. He's someone you can put on the right wing, and he's not like a traditional right winger who will take players on the right wing, but he's more of like a David Silva or
Mhm.
an Odegaard or an Ozil who can cut in, who can play those splitting through balls. He has the vision, he has the execution, and he also seems to have a good head on his shoulders as well, and be ready for certain big moments. So yeah, I mean, we were all hoping that this was the case months ago,
Yeah.
and I would like to see what this looks like in 2 years. If he gets rhythm with all these minutes and stack up all these minutes over time and get match rhythm and match continuity, I think this is a very good player, special player on our hands.
Yeah, but
So
forget 2 years, Keon. The question is, what is it going to look like on Sunday? Because surely he'll be starting now. I mean, you can't start Rodrigo after the performance that he put in over the weekend, no?
I'm just shrugging my shoulders. I don't know. I don't know. I feel like Ancelotti just has Rodrigo as a pen in starter if he's ready to come back. You know, so I just assume Güler will go back to the bench.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
we don't
I'll
learn
be
things.
surprised. I
This
mean, because I say this as well, not that he was asked this for the first time. I'm referring to the Güler topic, Carlo Angelotti, that is in the press conference. But I just so happened to catch some of it, and he was asked about Güler and obviously the time that he took, and he kind of referred back to how over the course of time of the years, many Madrid legends or players that became legendary for Real Madrid had to, as he referred it, or as they refer to in Spanish as chupar banquillo, suck the bench, they literally say here, right? And he reiterated that several times, chupar banquillo, ha chupado bien, like he sucked the bench good, he said, which I thought was kind of funny. But, and I thought, I was like, well, Raul Gonzalez was, what was he, 18, right? When he became kind of like a
17.
fixed starter.
I
But
think he made his.
became like a starter.
I mean, he made his debut, if I'm not wrong, even young before 17.
Hmm.
Wasn't he
Hmm.
16? But
I
or
thought he was 16, but I didn't double check. So I was
yeah,
hoping to get that from you. Yeah.
but I mean, he didn't become. I mean, but pretty much right away he broke in. Like,
That's right. I mean,
yeah,
that's, yeah, yeah. So I mean, in his defense, I couldn't think of many players that became early young stars except for Raul. But that's where I wanted to press you on, and also as a follow up, say he's in a, you know, basically give do not a do or die situation. That's not what I'm so, but he's in a situation where he has nothing to lose. That is quite frankly the situation that Carleto is in.
Yeah.
Don't you think that's enough now for him to say, just fucking play this Clasico? I have the press off my back, win or lose. Like, you know what I mean?
It may also do the opposite. Be like, well, I have zero incentive to develop Arda Güler
Mm,
now. I'm not
mm,
going to be here next year to
mm,
reap the benefits of Arda Güler developing now. But even if he wants to win now, I think the case for Güler is there.
mm.
But I think, your point is interesting because this is the way Carlo thinks, and I don't think this is necessarily the way Real Madrid always thinks. But when Carlo is there, this is the way he deals with it. Because for Carlo, it's always been like we look at like the last year of performances, not what happened last week. And so this is I feel like I hate keep bringing this up because I feel like such a broken record. I talk about this every week, but the way
Mm.
he trusts players is
Right.
not
Yeah. Yeah.
over
Mm,
short-term form. It's about long-term, like what have you done, for me in the last 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 years. I trust you. If you've been in my circle, I trust you. But um, we'll go back to your question. Like there are plenty of examples in Real Madrid history where kids right away were trusted, and it's actually led to some legendary eras. And this is I remember. I don't know if you remember this, Diego, but I remember saying this to you
mm.
during the whole Bartomeu mess, and then what ensued later with Laporta coming and trying to pull levers, and like the fact that you guys really had no money to spend. I was like, just remember that some of the greatest eras in both Barcelona and Real Madrid history were brought about because the clubs were forced
Moments
to
of
look
crisis.
within
Yeah.
the youth ranks.
Hmm.
And all of a sudden, it's just like, bam, the Xavi, Iniesta, Messi era. Um, what's happening now at Barca? The Yaya era, the Quinta del Buitre, like these guys. It was in all of those situations. It was a situation where they were forced. Where they could not sign anyone. They had no choice but to look within. It's like, oh, surprise, surprise, we actually have something, and we would never have known unless we were, kind of forced to look within. And uh, yeah, So this long-winded way of saying, like, when Carlos says stuff like that in Real Madrid's history, like I think he's right and wrong. I think certainly when he's in charge, it's going to be this way. It's just going to be they're not going to look to the youth ranks as much. But irrespective, we've been calling out for Güler for a few months now, and what
Yeah.
happens
Yeah.
on Sunday, I'm not sure because I
I
hinted. Yeah, go for it.
No, no, nothing. No, I just feel like I wonder if this is now if it has reached its tipping point. If it's now like Sunday was kind of like the definitive proof that, hey, you got to put this guy in, especially at this point in the season. What have you got to lose?
Yeah. Well, I hinted this to you on the patron only episode we did on Friday. Patreon.com/churros y tácticas if you want access to that, plus
Yes.
our official Classico preview episode later in the week. That this next week is going to go one or two ways, Diego.
This week, you mean?
Yeah. And I'm looking at that Inter game tomorrow, and I wonder how much that affects Classico.
Of course, I'm sure.
I have so much running through my head now. I'm trying to organize this in my brain. So when I was watching the Valladolid Barca game yesterday, um, what was a Saturday,
Saturday.
I saw the lineup, Barca's lineup, and I was like, okay, well, makes sense. They have Inter coming up. They've had
Mm.
grueling extra time against Real Madrid in Copa del Rey final. Biggest game of the season is on Tuesday for them. They need to rotate. I think there were a couple names I didn't even know who they were in the starting lineup. Valladolid obviously go up a goal, and I knew when Flick brought on the cavalry in the second half, I knew that Barca were going to win, obviously. But I thought, hey, it's good that at least he had to do that because maybe he wouldn't have done that if Barca had been able to sneak a result, right? So I was like,
For
okay, this
sure
is
not.
good.
Yeah.
So he's
Mm.
forced to bring them on, so that's more minutes. The best case scenario for Madridistas is if Inter Barca goes to like extra time and Inter win in extra time or something, because that's just
Yeah.
more miles. And then you guys lose. You maybe get a little bit demoralized because you
Mhm.
got so close and didn't make it to the final. And then Real Madrid maybe smell blood. Maybe they look a fresher team. Mbappe is in form. Güler is now breaking into the team.
Tell me the last time there was a four-time consecutive Clasico win, as well.
Probably this year. But then I looked at Real Madrid's backline. I was like, no, it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like,
That's interesting. That was
bro,
one of my questions, Kian, was are Madrid's defensive issues a bigger worry for you than Barca's, rotations or struggles or form and all that nature?
yeah, no question.
Mm, mm,
Um, and the Rudiger ban slash surgeries really screwed us over. In all these classical blowouts, it's Lucas Vasquez just standing there like like a traffic cone. He's gonna have to start at right back again because Chouameni is being pulled away from midfield.
mm.
Camavinga's not there. When Chouameni gets pulled away from midfield and goes to the defensive line, that means Fede Valverde will probably have to play in midfield. I'd li- I'd I'd like to see Carlo just roll the dice a little bit. You're talking about like fuck it. If I'm leaving now at the end of the season anyway, hey man, I've lost all three of these Clásicos. Two of them were absolute blowouts. Okay, the third one was closer. What is it going to get worse if you just roll the dice a little bit? Just roll
Correct.
the dice. Put Fede
And
at right
the
back.
people want it.
Yeah, of course. Put Fede at right back.
Mm.
Put Güler in the team sheet, and you could put Ceballos in midfield. You have ways around this, and I just want to see less safe choices. With Carlo, it's safe, it's conservative, and then if you have to in the second half, you bring on the subs, you play some more daring football. It's like you're up, bro. We love you. Thank you for everything you've done. We're gonna give you a big tribute at the end of the season because you deserve it. You're one of the greatest of all time. Just give us a little bit of momentum. See if we can win this Clasico like daringly, not sheepishly while sitting back. Because if you sit back, you're probably going to get blown away again. So why not roll the dice and take the game to Barca a little bit more? And I hope to see him do that. And if he doesn't, I don't know. I just don't see it. I mean, Rodrigo coming back from a fever, out of form to displace a young kid who's just on fire right now. I don't understand the logic. Lucas Vasquez again after he's been barbecued and spit roasted for 12 months? Why? I
Mm.
don't I don't get the logic behind it. So I hope to
I
see
mean,
Carlo.
you have to at least take some esperanza, right? Some hope out of the fact that whenever you look at a Barca game, we concede goals. And how many times at this point have we have had to mount comebacks as well, even against a team that had nothing to play for except for honor, where the fan base were very upset with their current still owner, the original OG, Ronaldo Nazario. Did you
Yeah.
see? Did you see him walk out of the establishment over the
No.
weekend? Oh
Did they boo him?
no, no, no.
Oh.
Well, they didn't. And even if they did, he wouldn't have realized. Like the dude was like next level in another place.
What do you mean? Like,
Highly intoxicated,
oh, okay.
highly intoxicated. Like eyes rolling in the back of his head, intoxicated. Once he got in the cab, like stumbling out of this place. Um, but the next day he was at the tennis with his girlfriend. So, but anyway, yeah, I mean, all those things. The Valladolid fan base are very upset and fed up with Ronaldo, but that's a
Yeah.
topic for before the summer.
Yeah.
All that to say that it was a Valladolid side that was just playing for honor, really playing for the sake of their fans and trying to give them a good game. Maybe that made them even a little bit more dangerous because you talk about nothing to lose. Well, they literally had nothing to lose. Uh, so, yeah, I get so sorry. Just to circle back to my original question, the fact that this Barca side always concedes, and the question is, how many goals can they score to come out victorious? Is that something that you hold on to say, I trust if we go into this battle with the players informed, the players that can create danger, maybe not defend as well, because clearly that is a point of concern and for right reason, but with the mileage, with depending on what happens tomorrow, um, yeah, how what do you take out of that? I mean, again, the firepower that you guys have, I would always feel like I would fancy my chance to do some damage.
Yeah, I mean, uh, yeah, but this is all questions about like how
Kunde
Real
is out, you know. I mean, also Barca's defensive frailty is
will they be
very
back?
obvious.
Will Kunde and Balde be back for the Clásico?
No, Kunde, I don't think so. Balde, maybe, but you know, he's been out for a while, and you talk about coming back, you know, not match fit. Like Balde will hopefully will be back, but he won't be match fit back. Lewandowski,
What's his status?
he's on the bench tomorrow. He'll be on the bench.
I mean, I think if I'm Inter, I'd probably rather face Lewandowski than Ferran. Is that fair? I know Lewandowski has been in great goal scoring form this season, but I mean, Ferran so dangerous, man. He just always pops up.
Yeah. Uh, yeah, I was speaking with Nima. I'll be talking with him after this as well. But
Yeah,
he talked about how, you know, the Inter defenders, the Bastonis and Biseks, etc., Di Marcos are very good at Acerbi l- facing these physically imposing strikers, your Haalands, Osimhen, Lewandowski as well, and nullifying them. So he was more concerned about facing a Ferran Torres who's more nimble, more mobile, more agile, more moving, you know,
yeah,
more fluid attacker than yeah,
yeah,
Lewandowski.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think if I'm Inter, and this is again just very cautious because I don't. You see all these reports that like Lautaro and Pavard are going to
Mm.
be back, and I don't know what that means. Is it mind games? Is it this or that? I don't know. I mean, I don't know if even Lautaro does play, you have to question like how fit will he be? Is it Rush? Is it going to be a good version of him? I don't know any of that stuff. I mean, on one hand I do trust Inter would make the right call either way for that, but they Inter really can't ask for better circumstances to beat this version of Barca. With Koundé and Balde out. Koundé is to me, I mean, obviously, as great as Inigo has been this season, Koundé is such a chief organizer of that back line. He knows how to play the high line. Araujo is more of a, I don't know.
Liability.
He seems to just be a little bit more lost sometimes than Koundé. Um, and if I'm Inter, it's just basically copy and paste the blueprint. Maybe find more coverage for Lamine Yamal, if that makes sense. Um,
It was
and
interesting that to hear Simone Inzaghi. Sorry, I jumped in there.
I'll go for it.
Go on. No, so the point I wanted uh, Simone Inzaghi in the post-match press conference talked about how they put two up to three players on Lamine Yamal, and the plan. And I think it was who was it today? Was it Bastoni? I think it was Bastoni in the press conference that said that yes, we're going to be doubling Lamine Yamal. Like for sure, he'll have two players on him. So that
They did that in the
oh,
first leg. I mean,
yeah. No, he said. I mean, again, Inzaghi said after the game that we put up to three players on him. Yeah, so.
as I think they should. I mean, but I think it does open up more. Like if
Hmm.
Rafinha is on point, if
Yeah.
Ferran is on point, it opens up space for them as well. And that's the kind of gravity that Lamine Yamal, has now. Like, and that's huge. I mean, that's part of the greatness of great players like him is not just what they can do, but also just the respect that they'll command. And you have defensive lines focusing on him, and it's easier to break them if you're a great player. It's kind of like Steph Curry. If he floats around, even if he's not shooting well, like your whole defense has to be focused on closing his space at the 3-point line. So
Did you
I
watch Game 7?
no, I just watched the highlights this morning. Yeah, just the highlights. Um, so
What are you expecting?
from tomorrow,
Hmm.
I think Barca squeak it through.
Really?
Yeah,
Wow.
I think they do.
I don't know. This the euphoria has faded, and it's now just concern and
Why?
pessimism.
But I okay, so
Because
when I told you I didn't get the euphoria from the first leg to begin with
yeah, I know
because it
you
was a
didn't. You
draw.
said that.
I
Yeah,
get the
yeah, yeah.
euphoria over Lamin's performance, but I didn't get the euphoria over like you guys. It's just literally 0-0. Nobody is ahead, and you're going back to San Siro, not back to the Montjuic.
Exactly. And the guys, the dudes there unbeaten on they're on a 15 game unbeaten streak. The San Siro in Europe. San Siro is going to be off the chain. It's going to be an absolute pressure cooker. That's what we talked about, right? I mean, I said if Barca managed to silence the San Siro, then I'll be more optimistic. But if we fall behind, even though this team has proved that they are can never be discarded, never be rolled out until the end. It's I just wonder if it's one step too much, too big of an ask in the San Siro against Inter, who defensive football is their forte, right? It's what they do, and they're so experienced at it. I didn't actually know that they are the on average oldest team as well in Europe. So the experience, all that has to count for something that for a team that specializes in locking down and conceding as few goals as possible, which they have succeeded in as well, right? They're the only five goals conceded or something, and the team with the least amount of conceded goals. So, uh, and see, I underestimated how efficient and lethal they were offensively. Obviously I know Dumfries and he's good for Holland, but I've never seen him score like scissor kick chilena type goals. And
I don't.
Thuram, I
I
didn't.
don't think it was a scissor kick. It was more
Whatever.
like a. This is just a
It was like
volley.
a side. It was he did it. It was the most acrobatic I've ever seen Dumfries do anything. You know,
Oh, I mean,
uh, and
I,
Thuram with the back heel fancy, the quickest goal in the Champions League semis. I don't know. I think I definitely underestimated their firepower and efficiency in that matter.
yeah, I mean, like I really liked Inter's performance in the Montjuic. I liked the way they played. I mean, I was always as a Real Madrid fan. I don't care. You know this. I don't care about football identities and stuff. But I was very jealous. I've been very jealous of teams that are just very good at something that they've decided to be good at. With Real Madrid, it's like they don't press well, they don't stay in a compact low block well, they don't counterattack well, they don't really do much well. With Inter, it's like they have the recipe and they do two things at an elite level. One is they defend at an elite level. They're very organized. They're very cohesive. They're a team. They literally work for
Exactly.
each other,
Yeah.
and their transition attacks are very good. And I'm like, I'm just jealous of that. And I was like, and I've always had a soft spot for Inter. I like Inzaghi, and you know that. I think they have the path. Even when I say like I think Barca squeaks it, it's like 51-49. My confidence levels in that. I think it's pretty much 50-50 this tie. I think Barca are clearly the better team and like more talented. I think they are the best offensive team in Europe, but Inter will be at home. Inter have the luxury of Koundé and Balde being out, and
And Barca concede from set pieces, man. We have been.
yeah, the set pieces. If I mean, if you guys will have to limit set pieces, and my hope is that Inzaghi is just showing film on repeat about like mistimed runs, offside runs, like
Mhm.
stay on side, because you know. My only thing is that I don't know. Obviously, with this Barca team, Inter could go up 1-0, 2-0, and it's still far from over. I almost wonder, like, should they, like, is it better to do that later on in the game? Like, if they're going to go up a goal or two, I feels like every time Barca go behind, it just wakes them up. and that's the superpower that Barca have this season. So it's just gonna be fascinating, man. I don't know what to tell you. I'm just gonna sit back and just smoke a cigar and watch it. I don't smoke, but I'll pretend.
Well, I'll smoke too. One for me, one for you. And although I would love to share one with you, that'll be the day, my friend, the day we can both watch a Clásico together and hold hands. What do you think with regarding the high line, though? Do you think that Flick, sort of stubborn in his ways, the same way that Carreto is in his, will live and die by the high line,
Yes.
or at this point of the season as well, maybe make some adjustments, or is it
No.
to a integral of the
I
this
don't think he'll change
anti-identity?
anything, which
Mm,
I think at least makes it easier for Inzaghi because he knows exactly what he's getting. I mean, we've been watching Flick for years,
mm.
not just at Barca. We know how
Yeah,
he is. We know exactly what he's going to do every game. And just because you know that doesn't mean you can stop him because it's just, you know exactly what he's going to do and you're still offside a million times. You still can't escape pressure. But I think this is what Flick is. So this is, to me, like the X factor really might be Araujo. Like, how is he going to fill those shoes? He's going to have a hell of a game to just to make sure he can hold that high line at a, you know, even if it's like 80, 90% of how Kunde does it. Um,
it'll be interesting to see Inigo in what'll probably be a wing back position as well, and left back. Um,
what do you mean? What about Gerard?
I don't think so.
You don't think?
That's kind of my bet. No, I don't think so. I think he's gonna go with Eddie Garcia, Cubarsi,
Oh,
Araujo, and
okay.
Inigo Martinez. I
So no
think.
Gerard.
I don't think so. I don't think so. I think that's one of the he's gonna trust the more veteran players here in this case. Um, Inigo, who by the way, has played in a left back position or in a wing. I don't know if it's left or right, but in a wing back position. So it's not he's not completely unfamiliar. If I'm not mistaken, with the Spanish national side, even, and he can pass. So I do see that happening, and I think Eddie Garcia will be the preferred option as well. Even though Gerard Martin, I think he won Player of the Match over the weekend, which was pretty stunning to see that.
He also defended Rodrigo really well in that Clasico,
Hmm.
for what it's worth. That makes sense. I suppose. Either way, it's not ideal for you guys. Either whatever solution that Flick puts forward in that defensive line.
Yeah,
Uh, you know, uh, um, as a Madridista, this could be a season defining turning moment potentially. I mean, it would be improbable but incredible if Real Madrid stole the league after such a
yeah,
ridiculously poor
yeah,
season.
yeah, yeah.
But they have to win the Clásico, and then I'm looking at that last match day, Athletic, San Mamés, Barca. I wonder if Athletic will have things to play for at that time. That's the only thing.
I would be looking more, if I'm Madridista, looking forward to the game against Espanyol and hope for another tamudazo, because that's not that I see a game against Espanyol.
Is that at home or away?
It's at home, or as in like away. It's at Cornellà. It's at
Ah, okay.
Espanyol's ground. Yeah, yeah. No, but what you say, I think, is 100% right. I think it's a defining moment for Flick's Barca, where you're either setting yourself up for a moment where you're potentially signaling a new dynasty if you win the treble, if you win the league and make the final, or you're going to be known for your flaws, as in these defining moments your flaws are exposed, and that could also be, that's the flip side, and in that regard it'll be very cruel, because I'm sure the press are relentless in that regard, as are many of the fan bases. But I think he's in that position now. It's like, hey, is this going to be glorious and potentially a new dynasty with all these young players that I have? And it'll be an incredible historic season, third time in history, if the treble is conceded conseguido, if it's achieved, or it'll be like, oh, you see the flaws, you see the high line. We always said it was the high line, the Achilles heel. You see,
It should be noted that even if you guys lose to Inter tomorrow, that should not be regarded as a failure.
no,
Given
I
where
agree.
this team was last season, given how far you've come here, and not just like stumbling your way, but convincingly getting to this stage, and you lose a hard fought win over an opponent like that away from home, it's going to be heartbreaking for you if that happens, but it's not a failure. If you lost the league, that would be a colossal failure. That would be astronomical. Like, you guys, this is embarrassing stuff. I mean,
What is needed? I was really hoping to get into a position where we were gonna potentially win the Clásico in Madrid's face. That would have just been a dream. That's not no longer the case, given the
what do you
fact that
mean?
you guys won. No, well, if Madrid lost against Celta, I think it was lose or tie. If we would have won or tied the
Oh,
Clásico, it would have been game over.
oh,
Um, but that's obviously no longer the case. That
yeah.
said, how many points are if we do lose the Clásico? You guys are 1 point behind. With do you have it in front of you?
We are 1 point behind, and after that, there will be how many games?
Four. I think
Four.
four. No,
One, two, three, three. There's 3 games left.
so 12 points.
Yeah.
Excuse me, nine points. 9 points
I
left to
mean,
play.
it will be 1 point, but with momentum and wind in the sails.
Mm.
But it also depends on, I think, where Barca will be after the Inter game in terms of, are they in the Champions League final? Do they have to think about that, or are they out and they're focusing on the league as well? And it's all these are finals for them as well. So we'll know that answer tomorrow night. So I really don't know how things stand there, but yeah. And again, I have to reiterate multiple times, like this Real Madrid backline is horrendous, and there's just so many injuries and so many players out in midfield and defense that it's just kind of hard to see the path. I mean, every game will be difficult, but um, I think Real Madrid's remaining schedule is probably after the Clasico a little bit lighter. Um, Mallorca is always a difficult opponent, but it's at home this time, not away. And then Sevilla at the Sanchez Pizjuan is difficult, no matter how bad they are. And then Real Sociedad at home. You know, I would say, just given Barca's history with those two teams, Athletic and Espanyol are probably a little bit more
Yeah,
difficult.
for sure.
Who
For
was your
sure.
third game?
Mm, is it
Is
Mallorca?
Espanyol, Athletic, and Villarreal.
Villarreal. Villarreal. Thanks. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, look,
No,
I don't know. I
that's,
feel like we're getting ahead
that's
of
a tougher
ourselves.
schedule. Yeah.
We don't know. Like, I think it's too early to talk about Clásicos, really. This Inter game, it has to be, give us some answers tomorrow, and then we can start talking more definitively about what needs to be done and what the mental state is, the physical state, all that stuff.
So listen, we are close to wrapping
Oh
this up,
shit! Where did the
and
time go?
we still need to address the elephant, or one of the elephants in the room, and that's the TAA to my G, Trent Alexander-Arnold, making it official, pretty much all but making it official. Um, that's
Yeah.
it. You guys got him. It's official. You got your right back, buddy with Bellingham. They're teaming up again. New season. It's going to be a whole different story. You must be over the moon with this one.
Well, I was just gonna say, I just remembered something I wanted to tie
Oh,
into this. Like, we were talking about Real Madrid and Barca and the league and all this stuff, and I really think that the this is a really weird thing to say about a team that's been so bad this season. But I really think Barca's window is in the league. It's not that it closes, because this Barca team is going to be good for years. But this really is the year you want to snatch the league,
yeah.
because I think Real Madrid are going to be back next year. Um,
Oh, you heard it here first. You heard it here first, folks.
I'm I am telling you guys the truth how I actually feel. I think this Real Madrid team is going to be back next year. I also think Trent.
It's hard to imagine you guys doing worse or the same. So
Oh, that's for
I
sure.
do agree. Yeah.
That's for sure. Um, a lot of people had asked us on Patreon, and also like I got a bunch of Instagram DMs about it because that's the only place that I check regularly. Like, can you guys do an emergency trend podcast? And I'm like, not really, no, because this is not breaking news. Like, this
Yeah.
is we knew this months ago, really, and we've been
Hmm.
talking about him almost every day. So what else do you want
Mm.
else? What else more do you want us to say? What that's already been said? Um, I think when you come and you read some of these stories that came out of the Athletic and the contracts and all this stuff with Trent, it was clear that Trent never wanted to renew at all. There was no negotiation process because he had made up his mind. I think he did a terrible job of trying to keep it a secret and all this. And you see Liverpool fans are pretty mad at him. At the same time, now there's a bunch of Trent slander. He's not a good defender. All this, and obviously, you know, where you guys need to make sure it adds up because you're mad about him leaving. You're sad about it, but now you're shitting on his defensive abilities. I like I obviously love Trent. He solves a lot of problems. Yeah, it's true he's not great defensively, but like Marcelo, man, like every player has their cost benefit analysis. This guy is generational offensively. He can play Tony Cruz S passes from the right back position. He can switch the ball of play to Vinny and Mbappe on the diagonal left side. Those diagonal long passes to the left side. His set pieces are great. He's got pace. He can provide overloads. He can basically help us in attack on the right side. I think he'll complement with Fede Valverde and Arda Güler on that right side. If you had a right side of Trent and then Fede and then Güler, I think that's a really nice. We've lacked ball progression for a long time, especially from that side. I think it'll be nice. And obviously, like you need to then whoever the new manager is needs to make it work and make this tick. To hide some of his defensive frailties, make sure there's coverage, make sure there's a system of play that wins the ball high up the pitch, potentially to mask some of those defensive issues. I'm excited for it. Now we still need to sort out the left back side, so that needs to be done as well. But I think it's a great signing. I'm excited for him. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yep.
Understandable. Understandable. Well, folks, this discussion is only the part one. Part two will continue on Thursday. Patreon.com/churros y tácticas. Sign up, sign up, sign up. Tell your friends, tell your neighbors, tell your mom, get the whole crew on Churros, the Patreon edition, because we take a little more time. We treat it with a little bit more care, and especially for y'all's, meaning we get up close and personal, get
Yes.
to talk to you. There's
Very
different
interactive.
tiers. The different tiers, very interactive. The different tiers are kicking in this week, so be on the lookout for that. If you want to, uh, yeah, be more, let's say, directly in contact with us, that will be available, and it will be available on patreon.com churros y tácticas. So sign up while they're hot, while they're crispy, and we're gonna have a great pre-Clásico discussion, and of course, it'll be a post Champions League semifinal aftermath. Let's say we'll see how Barca head into this one, and get to talking.
Yeah.
The
I'd like
fucking
to. I'd
sun
like.
is like beaming in my
Yeah, you're,
face
you're
right now.
getting roasted alive right now.
It was like the rain start. The clouds are just like clearing all of a sudden. It's been raining like crazy, and now the sun is like blaring through.
You got to have those shades handy. I'd like to add one thing. If you guys are in Toronto, if you're a Kool-Aid in Toronto or a Madridista in Toronto, either way, we're doing a Toronto show on Saturday. So like a little Classico preview.
Okay,
Come
nice.
out and hang out. I'll
Hey,
put
I should dial in.
in the
Can you
chat.
guys get me to dial in or something? That would be
I'll see
fun.
if I can make it work. Yeah. We'll
Nice.
we'll see if there's
Nice.
logistics that enable us to do that. There's a couple super chats. Do you want to take them, or if you have to jet, I can take them real
No,
quick.
go ahead. Go ahead.
Okay, cool. Let's do it. Jabron says, been meaning to do this. I think you both should warn the viewers if they are planning to come to the Club World Cup. Make sure they have their visas. Their lodging secure to not risk deportation. Please be safe. It's a strong
Give her an
message. Jabron is in Houston, I think. So he
I
knows what he's talking about. I gotta tell you, my family members are trying to talk me out of going to the Club World Cup. They're worried
well,
about this. Yeah, I don't. I'm like, I'm going.
I at the end of this month, my cousin is graduating, and I was gonna go as a surprise because I haven't seen my sister has lived in Minnesota for like 10 years or something, and I have never been ever since she left New York, pretty much. So I was gonna go for the first time, and my parents are like, "I don't think you should."
Don't do
Yeah,
it. Yeah.
yeah.
Well, I will report back. Hopefully alive. Sagnick says if Barca win the treble, always remember as Madrid fans that Carlo was our coach for 2 of their 3 trebles. Borderline sacrilegious.
Is that true then? Eh? I'll
Must
take your
be
word for that.
2015.
2015, yeah. Carreto was
It's
there.
kind of harsh to lump 2015 into that one because that Real Madrid team was pretty good and just got destroyed by injuries.
And that Barca team was insane.
Uh, Gibran also says moving to DC in 2 weeks. I'll be at the uh, Starsurg. Well, who are they actually playing? Because it's Salzburg. Salzburg is what I think you meant to say. Yeah, I'll be there too. I think we're gonna set up a show in all those cities that Real Madrid are going to. All
Thanks
right,
for
guys.
the generous super chats, Gibran. Make sure you subscribe to D Spot. I do solo sessions as well, and these kind of generous super chats are always appreciated, my friend. So I'm actually streaming this on D Spot as I speak. A shout out to all the D Spot peeps. Make
Yeah, there's been
yourselves
a
be
couple
heard
here.
and
If
throw in some super chats.
if you guys, I don't know if you see it, but just search D Spot on YouTube. You'll see because Diego is now doing full-time streaming, like on
Yes,
YouTube. So you're gonna get Inter stuff, and you've been getting Inter stuff on D Spot. So make sure you go to Diego's channel as well. He's been full-time outside of Churros as well. Make sure you go there. All right, I think that's it. Enjoy the game tomorrow, but
thanks,
not too
buddy.
much. All right,
Thank you. Thank you.
all right. Thanks, guys. Thanks, listeners,
By
and
the way, sorry, D Spot peeps, stay tuned right now because I'm gonna be talking to Nima once again. Nima Tavali, that is the host of the Italian football podcast and the
Persian guy,
Italian
right?
football
He must be Iranian.
specialist. Rutsari is his last. Yeah, Tavali
Yeah,
Rutsari. I
yeah,
think
definitely Persian.
he lives in Sweden. I'll ask him today. I never actually pressed him on his roots. But very nice guy, very well spoken, eloquent, intelligent, high football IQ. So I'm going to be talking to him now. That's in 4 minutes. So stick around, D Spot peeps. And for those of y'all's, subscribe and join the party.
Link to Diego's channel is just right in the comments there. Just put it there.
Thank you.
Thanks, guys. Thanks, Diego. Talk soon.
We'll see you Thursday. Yep.
See you Thursday. Patreon.com/churros y tácticas. Peace out.